It's been a week of jaw-dropping numbers in the US financial markets, and the housing market is stealing some of the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The gap between home sellers and buyers has ballooned to a record 500,000, with nearly 36% more sellers than buyers. That's a far cry from the modest 7% gap just a year ago. The supply-demand imbalance is now so lopsided that home price cuts seem not just possible but inevitable. For buyers, patience might pay off. For sellers, the clock is ticking. Over on Wall Street, Nvidia has carved out a place in the history books. The chip maker now commands nearly 8% of the entire S&P 500, an unprecedented level of dominance for a single stock since records began in 1981. Even Apple, in its 2023 glory, didn't reach this level. Not during the dot-com bubble. Not when IBM was king in the 80s. This is a market concentration that raises both eyebrows and questions. What happens if the crown slips? Meanwhile, America's economy is leaning ever harder on its wealthiest citizens. The top 20% of households have increased their spending by 50% since late 2019, while the rest of the country has barely kept pace with inflation. Today, the top 10% account for nearly half of all US consumer spending, a jump from just over a third in the early 90s. The middle class is losing economic weight, and the wealth gap is stretching wider than ever. Then there's the debt, an eye-watering 37 trillion and climbing. Since Independence Day, the national tab has grown by 700 billion, roughly 22 billion per day. Last week alone, the Treasury sold 600 billion worth of bonds in just 10 auctions. It's the kind of borrowing spree that would make even the most seasoned bond trader nervous. And while the government piles on IOUs, the crypto world is having a moment. Ethereum surged past 4,300 plus over the weekend, joining the ranks of the world's 25 largest assets. The traditional and digital financial worlds are moving in very different directions, but both are setting records that will be hard to forget.